I missed you so much. I'm so sorry. I love you. I do. Victory! Hey guys, welcome back to Rugby League Outlaws. It's been a fantastic weekend of the greatest game of all. We're starting with some breaking news. It's just come to light. These are facts. I've checked them. It's all true. 100%. The Warriors were on a 3-game winning streak until they brought Chad Townsend back. The loss against Brisbane now brings their record with the Chad to 0-4. Of course, we'll be joined by Terry a little bit later.
Yeah, Dan, I just want to talk about some comments that were made in the media by Anthony Griffin in regards to potentially picking Jack de Belin as captain. Look, no one's going to question the quality of footballer that Jack de Belin is, and no one's going to question the leadership skills that he probably has in the group. But it's the decision-making of Jack de Belin. He's been out of the game for 3 years on some of the highest charges we've seen. And those charges weren't dropped. It was just acquitted. The case was acquitted. And then he goes ahead and goes to this barbecue and 4 players are suspended. He lied to the police. He lied to the club. And this is the guy that you want to make captain now. I get it. He's come back in pretty good form. He's a handy footballer. And you can think that he's a good bloke. But Griffin himself is a questionable character. I wouldn't be out there just going, Jack de Belin's going to be my captain. And I think, you can make Jack de Belin the captain without making him the captain. You can pull the group aside and say, listen, on the field, you got to listen to Jack. He's a leader. This is the way that we want, the direction on the field to go. You can't put the captaincy next to his name. And I think the backlash that happened from the fans, and then for Griffin to double down on it and say he's a great bloke, you got to read the room in these situations. And I think that the Dragons have handled this whole situation with Jack de Belin poorly. And it's now capitalised on the top that, Anthony Griffin was going to make him the captain. It's just a poor look all around from the club.
Big news this week. North Queensland Cowboys officially out of the title run. 6 weeks ago we could have said the same. But this also marks 10 weeks to the day that I said the Cowboys would finish in 8th place. Only for them to lose 10 straight.
The downtown penalty on the weekend caused a little bit of conjecture and a little bit of, questions surrounding, what is this downtown penalty? Because, the referee was right. Grant Atkins was right in that sense that they call downtown nearly every kick. But what does downtown actually mean? And we've now figured that Mark Nichols was offside, and he was offside. So is it an offside penalty or is it downtown? What's the difference? Because if you're in front of the kicker, you're in front of the kicker. So I didn't understand that the penalty was taken back to where the kick was, but that's apparently the rule. But is that just not offside? So is that now every offside penalty is going to be back to where we take the kick, or is it where it lands, or is it where they get involved in the play? Personally, we see this all the time. If on the attacking sense of thing, that if someone's in front of the play the ball and then gets themselves involved and scores a try, it's pulled back. But the referees call downtown all the time, and they did call Mark Nichols. He did call downtown. The touch judge called downtown. So it was a good call in the end, and it's the correct ruling. But it's the first time we've seen it ever, and it was at the time of the game. It felt like the Penrith were getting the rub of the rules, and this one was correct. But, the explanation now needs to be, if you're going to call downtown, even if the bloke makes the tackle, he's offside. So is it going back to where the kick is, or is it going back to where the play is? And that's where the rule needs to be explained to people.
Rugby League, the game that keeps on giving. Over this past weekend, we saw something so rare. Something I haven't seen in, honestly, I can't remember the last time it was. Anthony Milford played a good game of football. Look, the guy's been through the ringer on social media, on all the television, on the podcast, 2 hacks with a YouTube channel. He's had an awful season. He's been punted to South, realistically. He's not even going to start there. And he came out today. He said, you know what? I'm going to be the Anthony Milford of old. He was man of the match by an absolute mile. Saw them home over the Warriors. The Warriors, of course, wanted to beat them to keep their finals hopes alive. Reece Walsh wanted to be the man to show the Brisbane Broncos what they're missing out of. And Milford stood up and showed what he should have shown, honestly, for the past 2 years. If South Sydney get this Anthony Milford on the money he's rumoured to have signed for, then that is brilliant business. Whether he can back it up or not, we'll see. But honestly, I didn't see a 2021 when Milford and Kelly would be in the halves at NRL level. So anything is possible.
Dan, I want to talk about South Sydney Rabbitohs. Look, at the beginning of the year, you and I both picked them to be the premiers for good reason. They've got a great roster. They've got a fantastic coach. They've got a great coaching staff, world-class facilities. You know, a 5'8" who's probably going to be, you know, the Dalian Player of the Year, a halfback who's got an insane kicking game. They've got try scorers all over the park. They've got Latrell Mitchell, Alex Johnson. They've got a great forward pack. They just don't seem to be able to get over the top of Penrith or the Storm. And this is obviously going to be a challenge for them in the finals because they're going to get a prelim against Penrith or the Storm. They're going to have to play Penrith in week 1 of the finals. And they failed against them twice so far this year. They got absolutely flogged in one game, and then they gave up a lead in the other game. And last year they failed as well. And you know they failed in the prelims, and they failed in the regular season. I think this now is starting to become alarming for Souths because they're a great side, but they just need to get to that next level. Now, in the finals, they may lift and find another gear, but then you're also talking about Penrith are probably going to lift and find another gear. Melbourne are going to be healthy and they're going to find another gear. I think it's a real issue for Souths at the moment. They can absolutely body every other team in the NRL, but the only games they've lost this year have been to these top 2 sides. I don't think the gap's that big between them. Yes, they have copped a couple of hammerings, but they were short on troops when they did. But, you know, South Sydney are really, really going to have to dig deep if they're going to come away with that premiership, which you and I both predicted they would get at the beginning of the year.
Rarities. This has been a weekend for them. We had Milford. We saw the downtown penalty that Terry discussed before. Manly won a game of football without their superstar. The bloke that was missing on the weekend. Didn't think it could be done. Wrote him off. When I heard he wasn't playing, logged in, changed my tip. It's not true, but we'll go with it anyways. Brad Parker makes everyone around him a better player. Every single game Manly have won this year, Brad Parker has been a part of. Tommy Turbo can't say that. They've won a few games without him. Some may say he's a scrub. Not me, but some. But Manly have proven they can win without their superstar, Brad Parker.
What's annoying Terry?
What's annoying Terry? Henry Perinara. Being in the bunker and he's still getting everything wrong. Look, he was a dreadful referee, but he's got 10 camera angles and extra sets of eyes helping him out, and he still can't get decisions correct. It's absolutely appalling, and he's really wound me up at the moment, so he's what's annoying Terry this week.
Special segment time. With their loss to the mighty Cronulla Sutherland Sharks on the weekend, the West Tigers officially missed the finals for the 10th straight season. Not since 2011 have the West Tigers played finals football. To help illustrate just how long that's been, I've come up with 10 things that have happened between the Tigers playing finals football and present day. Number 1, Chad Townsend was terrible at the Sharks. Sent to the Warriors, got kind of good, came back to the Sharks, won a premiership, and now is terrible at the Warriors again. Chris Pratt was still best known for the big lovable man Andy. He hadn't even been thought of as an action hero yet. Number 3, Tom Brady has won 4 Super Bowls since the Tigers last played finals football. Number 4, there have been 3 Summer Olympic Games and 2 Football World Cups. Number 5, 3 rovers have been sent to and have explored Mars. Number 6, 15 iPhones have been released. Number 7, Leicester won the EPL. The Bulldogs won the AFL. The Cubs, the Major League Baseball. The Cavs won the NBA. And the Sharks and the Cowboys both recorded their first premiership in the NRL. Number 8, we've had 2 popes. Number 9, The Rock has starred in 21 movies and headlined 2 WrestleManias. And number 10, since the West Tigers last played finals football, the Sharks have made 8 final series, about to be number 9. For the first time in a couple of weeks, I'm happy to be talking some black, white and blue. Starting off in a somber mood, unfortunately. Look, this past weekend was fantastic and we'll get to that. Trust me, we'll get to that. Look, but unfortunately, the season ended for one of our bright shining lights this year, Ronaldo Mulitalo. Unfortunately, he looks horrible on Instagram. The photos he posted earlier, broken jaw, in for surgery, got some plates. Ronnie, mates, look, he's a legend. On and off the field, I love this guy. You know, young player, he's got an error in him, but geez, he wears his heart on his sleeve, and I absolutely love it. The guy was literally holding his jaw in place, did a lap after to thank the fans, and took the time to go over and give his boots to a young child. I mean, that says everything about this kid and what he's made of. He'll win the best and fairest on and off the field for the next 10 years. He's going to be a giant for the Sharks. Off the field, he's an absolute weapon. We saw Ronnie break literally several tackles, sell Moses and by the greatest dummy in NRL history, have a free line to yet another NRL hat-trick, hands it off to Luke Metcalf to score his first NRL try. Says it all. Amazing stuff. Get well soon, mate. Come back next year, round 1. He's going to be a top try scorer next year. You heard it here first.
Dan, one of the big things, the big talking points, Connor Tracy went back to the centres, Luke Metcalf went to 5'8". We looked a completely different team. Connor Tracy has shown that he's an outstanding utility back. He doesn't really cut the mustard in the halves. And he's not really a utility number 9 either. So I think he's found his home in the centres, and I think, for the couple of years when we're trying to build this team that Fitz needs to get, when we may need a halfback, we may need another prop. But Connor Tracy can fill the void and save us some money by turning into a really good centre. Look, defensively he's good, he's quick, he's got great lateral speed. That's what you need from a centre. It's just a shame that he's really small. If he was a little bit taller, like a Ronaldo height, he'd be the perfect prototype for a centre. But I think he can sit there and fill a gap for us. In the expectations of 2022, we're going to be building that new culture that Fitz wants. I don't think we're going to win the premiership in 2022 either. But Connor Tracy has shown that he can definitely fill that gap for us out there, and hopefully save us some money that we can add to getting in, another class prop and potentially a class half. So, he's a different kettle of fish out there, and it allows Metcalf to get in the halves as well, which is absolutely fantastic for us going into the future.
Weekend, fantastic, big smile, Luke Metcalf. Love this kid. How good was it to have a half who just decided, I see a gap, I'm going to run through this gap. He was absolutely fantastic, scored 2 tries, set one up, put Ronaldo over in the corner with a ball 20 or 30 games beyond his game and 2-3 minute spells worth of NRL experience. This kid is a freak. We all knew it. It was just a matter of getting him in there. Look, Braden Trindle had a brilliant game. He seemed to be on, off. He was really, really on this weekend. That 40-20, again, like Metcalf, years beyond his experience. We had 2 blokes out there with like 15 games to their name go out and boss a team who were trying to make finals football on the back of 2 straight wins. Fantastic. But Matthew Moylan, game's in the balance. You throw Moiser on, he goes bang through the gap, sets Metcalf over the try line, untouched, game, set, match. That is exactly what we've been missing the last few weeks. We need Moiser fully fit and firing for the finals. I probably wouldn't start him this weekend. I give the young kids another run. But come Melbourne Storm time, we need Moylan and Trindle, I'd say. But Metcalf, he has to play as much football in the next 2 weeks as possible.
Well, this weekend was a great round of footy for us. Results went our way. Canberra got done. It looked like they were going to win. The Titans started on fire against the Storm, and they ended up getting done as well. The Warriors, surprise loss, to the Broncos. So, the Dragons losing jumps us back in the top 8. So, it's in our hands now. And I know there's some tough games coming up for teams around us. But for us to get into the finals, we have to win this game against the Broncos. Pray that the Melbourne Storm absolutely flog Parramatta and rest some players against us. I think we will beat the Storm, and I think results are going to continue to go our way. This season has gone our way, as surprising as it sounds. We're probably going to make the finals with a losing record, but it is what it is. We've just got to get behind these teams that are playing against our rivals on the weekend and cheer them on for a win.
Despite the fantastic result on the weekend, and any time you can score 50 points, especially against the Tigers, is indeed fantastic. Look, our middle still, it's not quite there. Too many missed tackles, too many breaks conceded, too many meters, easy meters, especially when we lose momentum. Plain and simple, I think everyone can see The Sharks need to sign a middle or two. We've got McInnes and Finucane coming in. Fantastic. We're still one or two short. Magoulias played a couple of token minutes, as we've seen lots. Moylan came off the bench, defended in the middle, then, went into 5'8" when injuries dictated. I still think we're a middle or two short. Tolman comes back this week, likely. Look, he's a stopgap. He's not a young man anymore. Whether he re-signs next year, it'll be on a minimal. He's not going to play a huge part in things moving forward. Luke Thompson. The Bulldogs have signed everyone under the sun, and they're going to let their best forward of the past 2 years go. This bloke's reportedly on $850K, with the Bulldogs supposedly, and we don't know how true this is, willing to tip in up to almost half. Fitzgibbon, Sir Fitz, get on the blower and get Luke Thompson to the Sharks. The other player, Takeaho, I know the Roosters have come out and said he's not going anywhere. It's rugby league. Contracts mean nothing. And the Roosters, of all teams and contracts, can't be trusted. Takeaho, if he's any chance, his Wigan deal supposedly fell over. Their salary cap's coming down, and Wigan have gone down the gurgler, unfortunately, this year. If Takeaho is 0.1% available, we need to be up there every single second. Now, I can think of one bloke who sits next to Takeaho in training. So Fitz.
Time for some top sport tips, Dan. Again, we got another perfect round. We picked the try scorers, picked all the margins. I don't know how top sport is still operating because they keep paying me a hefty sum every week. So either people aren't listening to us or, these guys have just got some incredible backing. But let's go. Let's start off with the Knights and Titans. Every Sharks fan on the planet will be getting behind the Newcastle Knights this weekend just to knock the Titans out of our way. Look, the Knights, they weren't at their best against the Canterbury Bulldogs, and the Dogs were playing to avoid for that wooden spoon, which it's now been cemented to them. They are the 2021 wooden spooners. But one thing that Newcastle have shown against the Dogs and the Sharks is that they can repel waves and waves of attack, and the Gold Coast Titans, on the other hand, they show their hand. They're very predictable. It's throw the ball to David Fifita and hope something happens. They started all right against Melbourne, but when Melbourne put the pressure on them, they cracked. I think this is going to be a really, really close game. This screams game of the round, apart from the fact there's some other games of the round in here. But I think this is going to be, the Knights want to consolidate that 7th spot, and the Gold Coast Titans want to get back in the top 8. I'm going to pick the Knights by 6 points. In this game. And look, Kalen Ponga, he's been carrying an injury, but I think he's protected himself really well the last 2 weeks. He's going to fire a big one in this game.
Kicking off Friday night football, the Warriors and the Raiders, must-win game for Canberra. They've got the Roosters next week, and I can't see them winning that. They need to win and win big to put pressure on the Titans and the Sharks. With the Warriors, they couldn't beat the Bronx with their season on the line, proving that they too are, like most teams in the competition right now, are fodder. Canberra for mine, I think it'll be a comfortable win. Canberra have it all to play for. The Warriors are playing for pride now. Canberra 1-12.
Roosters versus South. Look, this is the game of the round. No matter what anyone says, this is the game of the round. Friday night footy. Get excited for it. It's, the original rivalry. These two teams hate each other. The fan bases hate each other. It's just going to be absolutely incredible. Look, the Roosters are clinging to dear life for that 4th spot. South Sydney are all but confirmed in 3rd. Wouldn't surprise me if South rested some players, but I still think they'll have too much for the Roosters. There's so many injuries sweeping through that team at the moment. They cop some more on the weekend. They just keep doing it, the Roosters. They're the most impressive team for me in the competition this year, even if they don't get in the top 4. Just for all the adversity that's gone through them this year. They've lost their 2 captains, their star playmaker. They've had people in and out of the side all year. I think they're incredible. I think South's going to have a bit too much for them. South's the scoreline will get away from the Roosters. South's 13+. Alex Johnson's going to mark his return. I know he played on the weekend, but he didn't play all that well. But he's going to mark his return with 2 tries in this game.
Saturday afternoon, Dragons and the Cowboys in day. One of these teams has to finally win a game cup. A draw in this game would not only be hilarious, but really, really hilarious. Cowboys 10 straight losses. Dragons are approaching, and by the end of the season, they may too record something similar. Look, the Dragons have to win this game, pure and simple. I think they're done in terms of 8. They can make it mathematically, but when you talk mathematically, you're in real trouble. Look, the Cowboys are dead set hopeless at the moment. They've got a $1 million fullback playing on the wing who can't tackle, catch, or make breaks, and that's big trouble. Shout out Valentine Holmes. Look, the Dragons, for mine, base default, they're two best words in English language. Dragons, 13 plus. Look, Duffy has proven that when he's not playing the Bulldogs, he's not up to much. I think he's going to hear this. Shout out Duffy. Come out and have a great game. Man of the match, first try. Dragons, 13 plus.
5:30 on Saturday, the Cronulla Sharks take on the Brisbane Broncos. Geez, this is a game that Cronulla can really take a big step in getting into the top 8 and securing that 8th spot. Look, you know, they should have beat the Broncos a couple of weeks ago, or 8 weeks ago now, to be precise, but I think they'll do it this time around. I think, you know, now that Cronulla actually have something to play for, you know, we were coasting along, we were sitting around 7th and 8th last time, and it didn't really matter, but now we you know, push comes to the shove, Cronulla's really got a lift in this. I think, you know, now that the Broncos have got themselves ahead of the Cowboys, who won't win another game, that's what they want to do. They wanted to just get themselves away from 15th spot. The Broncos are building something, but I think Cronulla's going to have just a bit too much in this game here. It's going to be a close game. It's going to come down to the wire, and Sharks fans know what tight games are about. This one's going to have no fingernails left at the end of it. Luke Metcalf has to stay in the 6 for 1, and if he does, he'll be the man of the match again on the weekend. As I said, I'm going to pick this game 1-12.
Game of the round, Melbourne Storm versus Parramatta Eels. Look, we don't know what type of team the Storm are going to name. They've proven that they're willing to rest players, although, to be honest, they're aiming for 20 straight victories, and they've been resting players or without players the entire time. I think they're going to be too good for the Eels. The Parramatta came back and had a rebound win of little consequence. We're in the top 4 for a couple of minutes while the Roosters bounced them. Look, Melbourne are going to hammer them. This will be 13 plus. Sevo looks like he's out for at least this game, perhaps the season, which is awful news. Take away a huge scoring threat for Parramatta out wide. Look, Melbourne convincingly. I think Hughes comes back in. Finucane's supposed to be back. I'd be very, very surprised if they don't rest. I think Pappenhausen may play because he needs the games. Munster probably won't be there. Probably Harry Grant will miss the game, given Brandon Smith missed this week. You know, it's not going to be a full-strength Melbourne team, and it's not going to matter. Melbourne 13 plus, our boy Nico Hines to start off the bench or start, who knows, he'll score a double.
Manly and the Dogs, look, Turbo's back. That's all I've got to say, really. It's going to be an absolute thumping. One of the Manly wingers at the end of this round will be the top try scorer, because Turbos is going to dish it up on a platter for him like he did last time.
Rounding out your Sunday afternoon footballs, the battle of the big cats. Panthers and the Tigers. Tigers fans, look at me. This ain't going to be pretty. Penrith are on fire. They proved me wrong. I honestly thought South would get them this past weekend. They did not. Penrith are way too good. The Panthers are going to be otherworldly here. They're going to put 40 on the Tigers. The Sharks can put 50, honestly. Penrith could go double that. So, 100-0. You heard it here first. Nathan Cleary just going to blow them to smithereens. Everyone in the back line, 1 to 5, is going to score a try. This will get ugly.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Rugby League Outlaws, brought to you by Punktured Media. Don't forget to like and subscribe on all the socials. Get behind Dan and I. We're still bringing you some content in this lockdown, even though I'm stuck on a leopard print bed at the moment. I miss Dan, I miss Dids, I miss everyone. Rugby League's keeping us all together at the moment. So Dan, as always...
Thanks, Terry. Look, I wanted to take this moment to send a serious message to the Tigers and their fans. Look, we give you a lot of grief because you deserve it. This is a football. You're not good at it.